Hello all, thank you for joining us today. My name is Roman Delino. I'm an account executive here at Qvinci, and we'll be guiding everyone through the Reseller and Referral Program webinar for Qvinci. A couple things I do want to call out. We will be recording this webinar so that if anybody misses anything or wants to come back after we actually finish presenting, we will be sending out copies of the recording, and it will also be available on our website as well. One thing that it does bear mentioning, there is a chat window, and I have Kristen, one of my colleagues here, ready and willing to answer questions via chat as they come in and as we move the webinar. So please don't hesitate to utilize that, and she'll take great care of you and answer any questions you have in as much detail, or feed them over to me, and I'll be glad to answer them as well. Let's start by going over some of the Qvinci's clientele. What we're trying to illustrate in this slide is that Qvinci really provides value from a reporting and consolidation perspective, regardless of what type of industry we are looking at. We've got clients here that are from not-for-profit organizations to religious organizations to QSR franchises, all the way to restoration-based businesses. So the idea here is that we work with lots of different clients and really provide a universal value across many different industries. The agenda today is we're going to go over our referral program, basically how you use the referral program and what benefits we have to offer you. The reseller program, once again, is the same general iteration, how you use it, and kind of what we're going to be offering you and what you can present to your clients. And then we'll do a real quick overview, a high-level overview of the Qvinci application, as far as just to kind of illustrate some of the navigation. And also it really kind of brings together some of the points from a feature perspective that we deliver, because, it's if a picture's worth 1,000 words, a demo's worth 1,000,000. Last thing we will cover is general pitch points as it relates to the referral and reseller program, kind of how to approach clients with it, and really the best way to generally position Qvinci. So let's get started with the referral program. The referral program is a program that we've actually designed along with our reseller program in partnership with two of the top 10 pro advisors, Intuit pro advisors in the United States. And the idea was we wanted to deliver a program to two accountants, two pro advisors, two bookkeepers that really makes sense on a couple of different levels. It offers you a direct benefit and also allows you to offer a benefit to your client. The referral program is primarily for individuals who are working with a company that you see you see a need. You see a need as it relates to being able to put together multiple accounting files, even from differing sources with differing charts of accounts. Your client has a need to do that and understand where, for instance, multiple LLCs exist as a whole. So the idea here is that you qualify these folks, you refer them to Qvinci via a portal that we actually assign to you, and essentially Qvinci takes that lead and runs with it. Should we close that business, you see some upside as an add to the upside that you get in building trust with your client by referring them to something that solves it. As far as how the referral fees work, essentially a registered Qvinci referral partner will earn cash to the tune of $15 per enterprise subscription file synced to Qvinci within 12 months. Those fees we pay on a quarterly basis after 30 days of closing whichever respective quarter that those files have been booked in, or files, locations, LLCs, however you want to think about it. Really, referrals are for folks that are trying to choose a lower price subscription and that essentially will be paid in a lesser amount to be determined on a case-by-case basis. An example that I like to use here, one of the pro advisors that actually kind of helped us build out this program, the very first referral we received through this program is she was able to, in a 20-minute conversation, determine that there was a need for Qvinci solution for a person that she was dealing with. She referred him over to us, and 1 quarter later, we were writing her a check for $1,800. For lack of a better way of putting it, by saying thank you. It gave her the opportunity to then, of course, develop other relationship keys and lines of business for that client as well, based on her own service. So in an example here is actually fairly similar, and this is really just to kind of really clarify how this program works. Essentially, you refer the client on April 1st. That client links and syncs 20 new enterprise files per month each of the next 4 months. At the end of that quarter, you would receive a check for $900 for the 60 files connected in April, May. Essentially, we sum those up and pay you in full for that amount. Say they come back within that same year and decide that they needed to add additional files at that point. If they added in additional files in July, you would actually receive an additional $300 based on that. So total fees earned in this case would be about $1,200. As far as the way the lead qualification processes operate, for you to be paid for a referral, the referral must be new to Qvinci. Essentially, it can't be somebody we're already in conversation with. Obviously, if they're already working with us, there's limited value either direction to referring them to us. You must be the first person within a company or your company to refer the potential customer. And whenever you give us a referral, that referral is then qualified via email. Basically, we have a system that shoots that customer an email and lets them know that they were being referred over to Qvinci by you. And overall, what we recommend as kind of a best practice or what's in your best interest is to actually have a scheduled call, and it can be 15 minutes, 30 minutes, however much time you have, where we can pair up and approach the customer together, so that it really gives the best chance overall of the deal having success and them understanding that it's you that's bringing them to. As far as becoming a referral partner, there are 4 steps. You register for the referral program on the Qvinci website. You return the referral agreement signed with a W-9, and then you'll receive the links you'll receive links to all of these documents whenever you register. There's a webinar that we ask that you to review the program details and just learn the Qvinci application as a whole, and then after which we will create a URL specific to you, so that as you meet new clients and possibly run into opportunities that Qvinci may make sense for, you can simply go to your personal URL, add the customer's information, and everything is kind of fed over to us. And at that point, we begin the engagement process. The reseller program. The reseller program is really designed for someone who wants to utilize Qvinci as a service add to their organization. They see what we deliver from a cloud reporting perspective and a consolidation perspective as a way to differentiate the services they can provide to their clients, and also in a lot of ways save themselves time as it relates to sending monthly reporting, as it relates to performing consolidations, because the value is really at both ends. If you have any questions or want more information post this webinar, we actually have a link at the bottom here that goes directly to the actual reseller program. As far as overall reseller benefits, what you receive as a Qvinci reseller is a 30% discount on all Qvinci products. Essentially, you become the admin of the account. We bill you for Qvinci, and you receive a 30% discount on Qvinci and have the ability to bill Qvinci to your client all the way up to the retail price. Or we have a lot of clients who choose to use it as a differentiator in the cost of doing business and not bill for it at all. You can also provide your own billable services around Qvinci's products as it relates to developing a standard chart of account, as it relates to setting up various processes based on the dashboard, and really kind of helping your client understand what you're presenting to. In addition to that, you will be given the ability to display the Qvinci Star Reseller badge on your website, and also we will provide a link on Qvinci's reseller listings to your website. So it becomes a mutually beneficial relationship that we would hope in the long term provides value at both ends. As far as other general reseller benefits, we'll help you in setting up a demo company inside your account. We offer you training and technical support as to kind of best practices around utilizing the Qvinci app, and really kind of the best way to attack it from a reseller perspective. From an assistance with sales and marketing standpoint, we can assist you, like as a for instance, when I'm dealing with a reseller client if they need assistance running a demo for a client, or have general questions, or even have a client that just has a question that they can't answer, I always say, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm here as your resource as much as anyone else. So we also will provide you with early access to new features, products, and solicit feedback from you on those, and kind of allow you as part of our affiliate program to help kind of guide Qvinci as a solution, and really give us the ability to stay in the forefront as it relates to providing value from a reporting perspective. As far as becoming a certified reseller, there are 4 steps to becoming a certified reseller. Register for the program, much like the referral registration. You'll then receive an application, and we will ask that you sign the application and the agreement. And upon acceptance of these agreements, once again, there's a webinar that we ask that you attend so that we can review the overall program details and also teach you how to actually admin the account so that you're not flying blind. As far as after that, you'll be set up in Qvinci's system as a reseller, and the discount will be applied to your company at that point. You would simply contact support via chat and let us know that you are adding a company, and we will apply additional discounts as you add clients. As far as overall terms and conditions, certified resellers are permitted to resell provided services and training only after obtaining written consent and a quote from Qvinci. As far as certified resellers offering support and billable services, we do ask that you make it clear to your client that whenever you become a Qvinci reseller, that you are their first point of contact as it relates to general adminning of the account. What that means is if they need a location added, if they need billing changed, if they have just a general question about operation, if they need an additional user added, it is you who they would contact, as you are actually the admin on their account. Now, going past that, if there are support issues as far as anything that is viewed as not functioning or there's lack of understanding, Qvinci is still here to offer our support and would be glad to do so. We're going to do a real quick overview of the application. If y'all want to bear with me for just a minute, I'm going to kick my share over to the app, and we're going to kind of run down it. And once again, if any questions come up, don't hesitate to utilize that chat window down. It should be at the bottom left of your screen. All right. So what we're looking at here is the actual Qvinci application. The example set that we have in front of you is a multi-store franchise that actually has 15 individual stores. This is an admin view, and as an admin or a business manager permissions can be assigned as for instance, to your you'll be able to see all of the locations within your environment listed down this left side. And the reporting and widget availability would be representative of all of those locations or groups or individual locations on an at-will basis. Something to call out here is whenever we're looking at multiple files, one of the beauties of Qvinci is with these 15 businesses, you could have 3 of them on QuickBooks Online, 4 of them on QuickBooks Desktop, 1 of them on QuickBooks Desktop hosted, and the rest of them on Xero. To Qvinci, we have automated syncing systems for all of those pieces of accounting software, and it can pull and map to our standard chart of accounts on an automated basis, essentially allowing you a very clean way to view information that's not only different in format, but different in actual medium as well. So as far as the widgets themselves, we give you several different representations from a visual standpoint, whether it's financial summary or snapshot, which is really kind of a heartbeat of your business, gives you income, COGS, gross profit, expense, and so on, to several different periods of P&L as well. Now, the widgets you can always export as an image document. You can always print them as well. If you ever wanted to, for instance, narrow this down and say, I don't really care about income, but I want to look at expense and net income, very easy to make adjustments there. On each one of the widgets, if you hover over a data point, it will actually give you the numeric information representing the data point. So what we're looking at here is all of the locations within the very easy to click on a single location and everything reruns. So it makes it very easy to move to different locations within or different files represented within a single company. But what also bears mentioning here is if I'm a Qvinci reseller and say I've got 100 clients, we can give you the ability with our multiple company view to say, okay, I log in once and I've got my entire client list right here that with one click of a button or 2 clicks, you can very simply move to an alternative client and see their information so that if you're doing month-end reporting, it makes it a very clean, easy process. In addition to that, we allow you to provide your users with unlimited access from a user. So in this case, you would be the admin to this account, but you could assign, as a for instance, your end user on the client side access to it at no additional cost. They could then assign individual business managers access to groups of their locations and control that with permission. So say I'm a business manager for these 4 locations, but I'm not responsible for these. Very easy to make me a viewer of these and exclude viewers right in the environment. Taking it a step further, as far as the reporting page is concerned, really a very, very detailed reporting from a summary financial standpoint. We give you the ability to run a P&L, balance sheet, statement of cash flow, peer benchmarking ratios, ranking, and then ARAP, so on and so forth. Whenever we're dealing with a multiple file environment, a lot of times there are some challenges associated with being able to carve off selected groups. You know, I want to look at the Northwest region consolidated. I want to look at these 2 locations consolidated. Handle that by giving you the ability to provide your end user customizable business properties is what we define these as. Business properties are essentially sorting logic. So as a for instance, if I wanted to run a P&L for the Northwest region, it's just simple saying I want to run a profit and loss, and we'll do a consolidation by quarter the last 2 fiscal years. We'll go ahead and build that report. And now we're looking at the consolidation for 5 different locations from a P&L standpoint by quarter for the last 2 years. That's something that a lot of times takes quite a few minutes to put together, if not hours to put together in QuickBooks, even for people who really know QuickBooks inside and out, whereas being that we pull the information on a daily basis, we can make it as simple as logging in on a daily basis, spending a few together, exporting it to Excel, and then you're off and running. The same could be said for every client on a monthly reporting perspective. Additionally, you can always memorize reports. So if there's a package of reports that you put together with a high level of regularity and you want to see them represented here on a by-client basis, so you have 4 reports that you put together for a specific client, put those reports together, memorize them, so that going forward, it's a one-click process for you to run a P&L by location in this case for these particular locations. It makes it very, very quick and easy. And, you know, to give you an idea, one of our accountant clients actually has 100 individual files on Qvinci. Each one is represented as an individual client here. And he saved himself 18 billable hours a month, and he's on a value-priced accounting plan where it's essentially a subscription model. And so times it is a large premium to him. And what he's done is he said, okay, from a monthly reporting perspective, instead of putting all this stuff together on a file-by-file basis, I'm going to give all of my clients access to Qvinci. Show them how to use it once, and so that going forward, whenever they want to run their monthly reporting, they have the capability. On an as requested basis, if I have a user that wants me to do it for them, I can, and I still get to reap the time savings reward of simply making it a 1 or 2 click process to run the report. Last piece that I do want to call out is our health check. Health check is it's one of those tools that you hope not to need it, but inevitably you will. One of the beauties of Qvinci is that we sync up to 36 months of data every time we actually perform a sync. Not an incremental sync. We don't only sync. What that means is we sync and previous 2 years every single time. The idea there is what happens if somebody goes back and inputs a journal entry that possibly causes an imbalance between total assets, liability, and equity, or net income from P&L and net income from balance sheet. These are things that traditionally a software like QuickBooks or Xero will catch, but they do not always catch. And so while we're syncing this large amount from a date range perspective each time we sync, the idea is so if one of these changes occurs, we can capture it and then scan the file and find them, and then point you to exactly where they are. So we know we have 12 issues here. I click that button, and it tells me not only what location the problem exists in, but what month and year and what exactly the problem is. And so while we can't fix the problem for you, we can make it very easy for you to find. And as such, kind of instead of expecting you to walk in and find a needle in a haystack, we hand you the needle and say, here's your problem. So the last piece that I do want to call out is if you are a reseller, and as a reseller, you are the contributor of all of your clients' files. In the instance where you are the accountant or bookkeeper, you are the admin of all of the accounting files and are therefore responsible for them. We do add a view for you called My Files that makes it very easy for you to open up and see every single file that you are a contributor for, and ensure that it is synced in a timely fashion, and that the data is actually that the data is up to date, so that you know that what you're looking at is representative of a recent sync, and that any new transactions have been captured. We're going to move back at this point. As far as the key features, and we touched on some of these while moving through the overall the application review. You have automatic daily file consolidation. We perform this consolidation by giving you the ability to dynamically map to a standard chart of accounts. Essentially, we say you've got 15 locations. Not every location has the same chart of accounts, so you tell us what you want the data to look like from a chart of accounts perspective whenever we perform the consolidation. We will then sync every single one of those files, overlay the standard chart of accounts over them, and find similarities. Similarities will be automatically mapped. Anything that is dissimilar will give you the ability to go in and simply point and say, I need this account to show up under this account within the standard chart of accounts moving forward. Hit map, and then going forward, that's where that data will be represented. We do allow for ranking and benchmarking. Ranking and benchmarking, imagine providing a client that has 20 restaurants the ability to very easily say, I want to compare an individual or all of my restaurants against the benchmark of the top 10% of the rest of my environment, and then make decisions based on that. It really turns it into an analysis tool past just reporting, because it shows you how the best performers perform, and allows you or your client to make recommendations or changes to a business in order to try to drive that level of performance across the entire ecosystem. And then once again, unlimited logins. As far as how to pitch Qvinci, this is really from the reseller perspective. Some of the unique selling points are we provide financial consolidation for multi-site businesses. There are other tools on the market right now that perform financial consolidation, but to be frank, not any or many of them offer the breadth of a connectivity that we do, being that we can sync QuickBooks, QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Online Hosted, QuickBooks Online by class, QuickBooks Desktop by class, Xero, and even offer an Excel syncing system for those who are on Sage or Peachtree or something along those lines. You can view multiple non-related businesses within a single login. So you log in once, and you can look at all of your clients who may not even be in a single ecosystem. The unlimited logins offers a lot of power, as we don't charge you any more than what the location licensing cost is, and then you can take the information that Qvinci presents to your clients and give them the ability to disseminate it at will within their environment. So, and then of course control who can see that information via permissions. When we say an intuitive interface, there's not a lot of training involved with utilizing Qvinci. For the most part, the interface is clean, it's easy to understand, and once again, our support team is always available to you should you run into a question that you don't know the answer to. And then, of course, the peer benchmarking within each ecosystem is unique to Qvinci, and it's also quite a bit more accurate than a lot of the benchmarks on the market, being that we're doing it off the actual financial data coming from the client, as opposed to, for instance, a voluntary worksheet sent to a client that they fill out on a high level and you just have to trust is correct. As far as general best bet referrals, what we would call key targets, multi-site businesses, think multi-unit owner franchisees, think investment organizations that have a handful of hotels, some restaurants, and maybe an automotive shop or a beauty parlor or what have you. Accounts with mixture of clients, kind of along the same lines. If you've got an investment company or a property management company, for instance, that has multiple locations that they have to report on individually but still need to be able to understand their business as a whole, Qvinci really solves a big problem for those folks. General businesses requiring consolidation. And, of course, what we found typically the fastest and really the people who turn around the fastest with Qvinci are locations from 20 to 50. Those guys, a lot of times they don't have the funds available for an ERP system or really can't handle the complexity that comes with running a system of that nature. But they're large enough to have a need for something like Qvinci. But, to be honest, we have 3- and 4-file customers that are over the moon on the fact that they just, we no longer have to sit there and wonder or manually put together each one of our P&Ls and balance sheets from each one of our organizations on a monthly basis so that we can make decisions for the next month. No, we just log into Qvinci and have it. Wanted to thank everybody for joining me today. What we're trying to do here at Qvinci is we're delivering a product to people that a lot of folks, it's a new concept to them. It's amazing to me on a daily basis how many people show up and are just they're amazed that something like us exists, and are shocked it's taken them this long to find out. This is the reason we are coming to you. Is because you are front and center with these clients. You're acting as trusted advisors, and in a lot of ways you understand their business from a depth that's very difficult from where we are to get to, and may be able to make recommendations to possibly see a need and kind of help us accomplish our goals, and as such allow us to help you accomplish your goals by either adding to the service portfolio that you're already offering or helping build a relationship from a referral standpoint with somebody because you sent them to the right place. That's the long-term objective. I appreciate everyone's time today, and we are going to leave it open for questions, and I'll field some of the questions as well if anybody's got a general question that may apply to everyone else. And, really want to encourage you to take a look at the Qvinci website. We actually have a couple of, we've got the email contact here, partners@qvinci.com, if you have any questions specific to this program. And in addition, once again, we'll be sending this webinar out, and it does have the reseller and referral links. But if you want to go check it out right now, it's at www.qvinci.com. Click on the Partners tab, and all of the information as it relates to both of those programs will be right there in front of you. So I'm going to turn over to some of the chat questions real quick and answer them. And if there are any direct questions to me, please don't hesitate to send them as well. Just got in another question. Whenever I was stating unlimited logins earlier, think of that as users. We consider those synonymous on this end. So once again, the way the licensing works is the licensing is based on the actual file contributor. So, in the example I was showing you earlier on the application, we had 15 different locations. Each one of those locations would consist of a single license. The beauty here is once you've paid for that licensing or your client has paid for that licensing, users or logins are unlimited. And once again, you can provide both management level access to this information, regional managers, of course, and then, of course, the business executives themselves. And do want to go ahead and reiterate that this deck and a recording of the webinar will be made available to you both via email and on the actual Qvinci website as well. That's a good question. It was brought up, how do we handle by-class reporting? And I think this is a key point, especially when we're dealing with there are a lot of businesses, not-for-profits as an example, that oftentimes, because of the way grant structures work, they have to account for their business on a by class, even within a single file from a by class perspective, because they have to account for each of those grants almost as if it's its own entity. We work with a lot of the not-for-profit space, and the way we handle that is we say, okay, you have a single file or you have a couple of files, but we need to be able to break these classes up and understand both on a per-class basis, but a group of classes, or even mixed classes between files. Qvinci gives you the ability to actually sync at the class level within a file. So say you've got, I refer back to the example I was using earlier. We had 15 files. Let's just say that was one file, and all 15 of those Qvinci locations were classes within that file. What's cool about what we can do is we can sync each one of those classes individually and give you and your user the ability to say, you know what, let's look at 3 of these classes consolidated instead of all of them. I realize that currently within QuickBooks you can pretty easily output a by location report as it relates to classes, and you can also output a overall consolidation. But putting together segmented consolidation within a file like that has its challenges. You know, we take it a step further, and you know, a client that I was dealing with earlier today, for example, she's actually got 2 QuickBooks files with about 30 classes in each file, and there were similarities between the classes, and she needed an easy way to, let's say, compare Class A, which consists of revenue type 1, to Class A in File 2, which also consists of the same type revenue. We make it very easy for her to do that by giving her the ability to break her classes up and even across files consolidate them. So, and a question came up, I believe it was Hayden that asked, as far as what the cost for the monthly and annual pricing for Qvinci is. Qvinci's licensing costs from a retail perspective, if we're doing a month-to-month subscription, is $14.95 per reporting location. Reporting location can consist of a file or a class. If we're looking at a yearly license model, which is paid up front, that is $149 per location. So if you look at it versus the month-to-month subscription, it saves you roughly 2 months worth of cost. Let's take this a step further. What does it look like if I'm a reseller? And keep in mind, you do not necessarily, it's not exclusive to ProAdvisors accountants. The reseller program is built with ProAdvisors and accountants in mind. So if you don't fall under one of those categories, please still reach out to us. We'd be happy to figure out a way to work with you. But you get 30% off of the $14.95 per month price. So that drops the price down to about $10.47 on a per location basis, which you could turn around and, if you wanted to utilize it as a billable service, charge up to $14.95 per actual reporting contributor. Do we have any other questions at this point that I can help answer? Oh, and there's one. I'm going to go ahead and let everybody know. A question arose about how do we actually sync to the files. There are several different ways we sync to the files. So if you're dealing with a QuickBooks desktop file, we automatically sync with QuickBooks desktop files all versions back to 2009. And we handle that via the Qvinci Sync application, which essentially acts as a plugin that is installed on the system that houses the file. And that's whether it's a desktop, laptop, or even hosted at one of the large hosting partners, or even privately hosted. You install the Qvinci Sync application to that system, and then link that file one time to the location within Qvinci and grant Qvinci access through a pretty standard Intuit certificate. Once that piece is taken care of, syncing occurs automatically each time the file is opened. And you have the ability, once you've finished, inputting transactions, making changes or whatnot, to go in and manually sync to capture all current transactions if you would like. Otherwise, whenever you shut the file down the next time you open it, all transactions from the previous session will be caught. As far as how do we interact with the online products, we actually have a dedicated secure API to QuickBooks Online and Xero that essentially allow us a daily feed where we will extract the information at 2 a.m. From a sync perspective, pull it over, and also give you the ability, for instance in QuickBooks Online, to if and I think of one of my clients. She would go in, she would make changes to pretty much all of her classes, and then need to go in and update it at that point because she'd want to do immediate reporting. We give you the ability to, on a point-and-click basis, manually update each file on an hourly basis for QuickBooks Online as well. Another question that came up is security. And this is always a big concern, particularly from the client perspective. What's being pulled, what does it look like, and who sees it? So a couple of key pieces to call out here, and this is dictated very clearly in our end-user license agreement. Qvinci does not sync fraud-sensitive data. So what that means kind of in layman's terms is whenever we perform a sync, we're syncing summary financial data. We do not pull bank account numbers. We do not pull Social Security numbers. We do not pull credit card numbers. We actually do not sync transaction level data. We essentially, whenever we sync a file, the information that we pull is reporting level. We sync P&L by month for the last 36 months or the last 3 years, unless we're doing weekly reporting, which is always an option that can be turned on as well. We sync balance sheet by month. We sync AR/AP aging by month, expense by vendor, sales by customer. It's that simple. So the pieces of data that end users tend to be worried about never actually enter our system, nor do we have any coding with which to extract it, because to be honest, we do not want it. From a security perspective, we actually house our application at Amazon Web Services, or AWS, which has a very detailed compliance documentation page. If you go to AWS or search AWS compliance, we're HIPAA, OPAL, FIPS, SOC 1, 2, and 3 compliant. If I'll put it to you this way: it's the same cloud that QuickBooks Online is hosted at, and also the Department of Defense is hosted at. So what we would call military-grade security. And Hayden, to answer your question, the pricing per accounting data file, we would consider each file a contributor. So in this case, the contributor is $14.95 per month if you're purchasing at retail. If you are a reseller, you get it at $10.47 per month. We have any other questions at this point? We still got about 5 more minutes. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and close up. Once again, thank you all for joining us. And this deck and recording will be coming out to everyone shortly. Please do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or want to learn more. And in addition to that, we've got a team of account executives on this end that would be happy to perform a demonstration for you in more detail on a private basis and answer any direct questions as well. Thank you for your time, and hope we get to work together soon. Have a great day.